Hi guys! So let's make another draw. What's my next read? Mm, let's go deep. Let's go deep. Okay, this one. Oh, it's one from the 40s. Yay! I only had one from the 40s so far. So that's fun. So it's number 43. There you can see it. And 43 is two books written by real life partners or spouses. So there are actually, this prompt is twice, so I had to find two books with this. It wasn't easy. So what I found was, this was actually very interesting because I messed around with this prompt several times, and then I saw sort of people talk about this book, and I was like, oh, that's something I actually interested about in. Okay, so it's How to Kill a Witch by Zoe Venditozzi and Claire Mitchell. So I hope you can read that. Anyway, so apparently they run a podcast together, and this is actually about history. And one very interesting fun fact you don't know about me, because I never talked here about it, is that when I was a teen, I was actually very interested in Wicca. And also, well, not as a teen, actually in my early 20s. And it was one of my special interests. And I was also, therefore, very interested in the history of witchcraft. So I read a lot, and also about the emergence of modern witchcraft. So, yeah, that's another thing that I'm interested in. Thank you, ADHD. And so that's why this book was like, it's about witches and it's about the history of witches. So I was like, oh, brilliant. And just what I need. So synopsis is really long, so I'm just going to read a little bit of it. In How to Kill a Witch, Zoe Venditozzi and Claire Mitchell host the popular Witches of Scotland podcast, unravel the grim yet absurd bureaucratic process of identifying, accusing, trying, and executing women as witches. This captivating and often infuriating account, which weaves a rich tapestry of trial transcripts, witness accounts, and the documents that set the legal grounds for the witch hunts, exposes how this violent period of history mirrors today's struggles for justice and equality. So yeah, there's more here about it. Yeah, it's about history of witches, mainly in Scotland. So that is very interesting for me. And yeah, and I think I think this was recommended to me sort of by the Plant-Based Bride, who has a channel on YouTube, and she's one of my favorite booktubers. So I highly recommend her channel. I actually want to make a little video of all the booktube channels that I recommend. Well, several actually. But yeah, this sounded like something right up my alley, and I'll let you guys know how I actually like it and how I find all the historical information that they have in this. And I am going to listen to it as an audiobook, so this will actually be more like a podcast. So that's fun. And so stay tuned for my review, and thanks for watching. Bye. Hi guys! So this is a review of How to Kill a Witch by Claire Mitchell and Zoe Venditozzi, and this was for the 2026 PopSugar Reading Challenge, prompt number 43. 2 books written by real-world spouses or partners. And they're partners, so I'm good. So, this book was very interesting. It's about Scottish witch trials, which lasted from the 1500s to the 1700s. And thousands of women, well, mostly women died, also some men. And it's very interesting because it talks about the background, so the social, economic background, what books influence this, and a lot of other things. It also looks at some specific witch trials and some specific stories of witches. And also, interestingly, how a witch's bones, well, how a witch's skull ended up on a painting. Yeah, that was interesting. So it also talks a little bit about Salem and contrasts the popularity, the fame of Salem to the witches of Scotland. And it's really about how we really need to talk about this, and also how they really deserve a monument. And also, it's a very feminist book because it talks about how witch trials are still a thing, and mainly in Africa, and also what efforts are done for it. And it also talks about how patriarchy and economy influences witch trials, and how mainly the target of these witch trials are women. And it also talks about some of the things that's going on in the US, which is understandable under the current climate. So this was very interesting. I gave it 4 stars because it wasn't perfect, but it was very interesting. And also, I listened to the audiobook, which is mostly narrated by Claire, who actually has the thicker Scottish accent. So sometimes it was kind of hard to follow a bit, but I was doing fine. I'm pretty good with Scottish accents. But also there were segments of the story where they cited sources in their original language, which was mostly Scottish, I think. And they never made like you should have said something in the audiobook, because we don't have the visual reference that we would have in a written book. So sometimes it starts talking, a chapter starts, and I'm not sure if I'm just really not understanding the Scottish dialect, or I'm not understanding the Scottish language. So that was a hard part for me with this audiobook. But so yeah, be warned, if you're not good at understanding Scottish dialect, don't go there. Just read it as a book. You can try it out because they actually run a podcast, so you can see if that's something that suits you. So otherwise, yeah, enjoyable book, very thoroughly researched, and they also talk a little bit about how they did the research. So yeah, highly recommend it to everyone. Thanks for watching, and check out my next book. Bye.